They fined me $250,000 for violations on land I'd owned for 30 years. That morning, I stepped out to check the fence line, same as always, and there was a thick cream envelope pinned to the crossbeam with 2 thumbtacks. The gold foil seal caught the light. Sunset Valley Homeowners Association. Certified mail. The kind of envelope that feels heavier than it should. I slit it open with my pocket knife. The first line hit like a slap. Official notice of violation. $250,000. Encroachment on HOA green space. Unauthorized structures within setback. Non-compliant fencing. They even included photographs. My old tool shed circled in red. The gate my father hung when I was 20. The fence running straight along the ridge. They call me a trespasser. I let out a short, dry laugh. 30 years on this Montana ranch, through droughts that cracked the earth and floods that tested every inch of the dam I helped build. That dam keeps their lake full, their lawns green, their million-dollar views intact. And now they were fining me for my own fence? The anger didn't explode. It settled in quiet, like water rising behind a gate. I carried the packet to the tailgate of my truck, spread it out, and read it again. Their 2011 survey showed my northern pasture shaved off, the access road looped into their property like it belonged to them. Crane still worked the far hill. A woman in a sharp navy suit stood by a black SUV, red clipboard in hand, talking on her phone. From here, she looked small against the landscape. I walked back to the house, pulled open the roll-top desk my father left me, and found the tin of old survey stakes. Under them lay the deed from 1974, his signature steady as the river he loved. I spread it beside their map. The lines didn't match. There's cut 30 feet south across my boundary, stealing the edge of the lake and the road I'd maintained since the day the county engineer signed off on the spillway. My name is Harlan Brooks. I retired from dam engineering 6 years ago, but a man doesn't retire from knowing where north is. I poured coffee, sat on the porch, and let the quiet anger build. My wife Ellen used to say, "Not every piece of paper deserves your time, Harlan." She'd been gone 4 winters now, but I could still hear her voice. So I read the line that mattered. Attached survey 2011. Boundary adjustment. That was the key. Not the fine. The map. The next day, a black SUV crunched up the drive. The woman stepped out. Eleanor Hargrove, president of Sunset Valley HOA. Navy suit. Heels that didn't belong on gravel. Clipboard like a weapon. 2 men in blazers followed with cameras. "Mr. Brooks," she called. "We're here to review the violations before we proceed legally." I wiped my hands on a rag. Violations? You mean the fence my father built? The shed I patched last spring? The gate that holds back enough water to keep this whole valley from drying up? Her smile stayed polite. The structures are non-compliant with community standards. The 2011 survey updated the boundaries. You're encroaching on HOA property. It's about protecting values for everyone. One of the men snapped photos of my chicken coop, like it was evidence in a murder case. I kept my voice level. This land was platted before your subdivision had a name. I've got the deed to prove it. She stepped closer. Boundaries evolve with development, Mr. Brooks. The board voted unanimously. We expect removal of the encroachments within 30 days, or we'll file for liens. I tapped her clipboard. Who drew those lines? Our contracted surveyor. All official, county verified. I'd like to see the signatures. She hesitated just a second too long. It's in the file. You'll get copies with the summons if it comes to that. They left dust swirling behind them. I stood by the gate, feeling every post my father had driven. The dam caught the sun like polished stone. It had survived worse than paper threats. That night, I spread the 1974 deed and my father's Corps of Engineers maps. The coordinates wrapped the lake, the dam, and the meadow where Sunset Valley now sat. Their fake map sliced it clean. I dug out my old brass compass, initials HB Senior etched in the lid, and walked the fence at dawn. Old man Tom Whitaker was leaning on his cane by the cottonwood. We've been neighbors since before the pavement came up the hill. Saw the fancy car, Harlan. HOA trouble. They're fining me for my own fence. He spat. That fence was here before they graded their lots. Your dad drove those posts himself. They say a 2011 survey changed everything. Tom chuckled. I like to meet the man who surveyed it. Probably never got his boots dirty. We followed the line. Every 40 yards I knelt, checked the compass, tied orange twine. Past the creek, the ground rose. From there, the new houses looked like bleached bones on the ridge. I drove to the county courthouse after lunch. The clerk raised an eyebrow when I asked for surveys on Sunset Valley around 2011. She brought folders and one slim envelope. Funny thing, she said. This one doesn't have a proper license number. Just initials. D.L. Harlan. I copied it. Back home, side by side with the deed, the theft was obvious. 60 feet shaved off my north line. My access road cut in half. The signature was D.L. Harlan. State registry showed the man died in 2007. The survey was filed in 2011. A dead man signed their boundaries. I loaded my father's field kit, compass, steel tape, metal detector, and called Tom. We started at the cottonwood. Modern GPS confirmed every old iron stake. We dug under manicured lawns. Found them buried deep. One had been sawed in half, fresh cut. Tom whistled. Deliberate. Rain came hard that afternoon. We sheltered under an unfinished porch, watching red flags we'd planted flutter like warnings across perfect grass. This isn't sloppy work, Tom said. It's fraud. The HOA called a special meeting. Eleanor sat at the head table like a judge. Neighbors milled with coffee, uneasy. She spoke into the mic. Mr. Brooks's violations include fence encroachment and improper access. Fines total $250,000, pending correction. I stood, briefcase in hand, and walked to the projector. I have a few measurements, I said. Slides filled the screen. Satellite overlays. GPS points glowing red. Original stakes uncovered. Gasps rippled through the room. These are the 1974 lines, I said. Verified last week. Each red dot is an iron stake my father set. Your pools, patios, tennis courts, they sit over my property line. Eleanor's smile froze. I clicked to the half-sawed stake. This one was cut to hide it. And this survey you sent me? Signed by a man dead 4 years before it was filed. The room erupted. Phones came out. One homeowner stood. Eleanor, is this true? Do we build on his land? She didn't answer. Her knuckles whitened on the table. I closed the laptop. I'm not here to ruin homes. I'm here because someone redrew lines that weren't theirs to touch. The county can sort the rest. I walked out. Whispers followed like wind through cottonwoods. They tried a restraining order. Failed. Then the full trial. Judge Harlan, no relation, presided. My attorney, Clara Monroe, laid it out clean. Deed, GPS stakes the forged signature. Their side brought experts in suits who talked jargon. Clara asked each one about the dead surveyor's license. None could explain it. Then a clerk handed the judge a sealed folder. Emails from the developer to the board. Shift markers to align with marketing lots. Don't worry about the old deed. No one checks the dead man's math. The courtroom went still. Closing arguments came. Clara held up the deed. This isn't nostalgia. It's evidence. Land has memory. Boundaries don't shift with ambition. Their lawyer tried. Progress sometimes blurs lines. Clara's rebuttal cut sharp. Progress doesn't excuse theft. The jury returned. The judge read. The 1974 deed and federal dam records establish ownership. The 2011 survey is fraudulent and void. Structures encroach. Remedies to follow. The room exhaled. Eleanor gathered papers with trembling hands. Outside, rain started. I walked the courthouse steps, hat low. Clara caught up. They'll appeal. Let them. Truth doesn't mind appeals. Back home, the valley smelled of wet sage. I sat on the porch watching the dam catch moonlight on the spillway. Weeks later, they came with settlement offers. Monthly payments, easements, non-disclosure. I turned them down flat. One by one, homeowners signed leases. They paid fair rent for the ground their houses sat on. Eleanor was last. She arrived alone at dusk, papers in hand. We stood by the gate. I never meant it to go this far, she said. The developer assured us the lines were clear. Belief is easy, I told her. Proof is harder. She signed. Her hand shook slightly. The land always knew, didn't it? Land doesn't forget. She left. Tail lights faded over the ridge. Years passed. Rent checks arrived monthly. Some neighbors rented garden plots for me, growing tomatoes and soil they once fined me for. Eleanor walked the fence line, sometimes, heels sinking in dirt, asking about dam maintenance. We nodded, spoke of weather. Claire stopped by weekends. Your case is cited now. Developers think twice before burying stakes. I smiled. Good. One evening I walked to the dam. Water rushed steady through the gate. Stars scattered across the lake like spilled coins. Ellen would have liked this ending. Not loud victory, but quiet balance restored. The fight wasn't about revenge. It was about responsibility. Land isn't owned. It's held in trust. And when someone tries to steal it with paper and promises, the truth eventually finds its level, like water behind a dam. If you've ever had to stand your ground against real injustice, whether it's a bully with power, a system rigged against you, or just plain wrong, tell me in the comments. Would you fight like this or walk away? What's the line for you between justice and letting it go? Your stories matter. Share them. Let's talk about what real fairness looks like in a world that sometimes forgets.